What up everybody, Wiser Oner here with TattooPro Stencils. Today's tutorial, you're gonna learn how to do a pretty badass rose and skull hand tattoo. So get your airbrushes ready. This tutorial uses the following TattooPro stencil kits: skulls, roses and scrolls, and freestyle tools, and elements from Wiser's Graffiti Madness kit. Before you start, clean off the tattoo area with a paper towel sprayed with rubbing alcohol. Begin by placing the large rose stencil on top of the hand, holding it in place on both sides. Spray a light mist along the bottom edge of the stencil and around the side edges. Start to lightly fill in the spaces between the petals too, but be careful not to fill them in solid. You'll notice I'm mostly spraying around the edges of the openings, leaving one edge lighter than all the rest. Certain areas of the center of the rose need to be a little bit darker, but be careful, you don't want it to be solid black. When you lift up the stencil, you'll see any areas you may have missed. Simply lay the stencil back in place and give another spray, and do this wherever needed. Now we'll bring out our freestyle tool. The Roses and Scrolls kit comes with its very own tool that is perfect for all these petals. But really, you can use any of them. Use the edge of the tool to line up the edges of the petals and lightly spray a shadow separating the petals. And do this to the entire rose. This can usually be done in about a minute. Once you finish separating the petals, spray a light shadow around the edges of the largest petals. This will make them look more rolled over instead of flat. Now it's time for the skull. Place the stencil slightly above the rose and hold it in place. Start to fill in the eyes, nose, and details of the skull, but be careful not to overspray onto your beautiful rose. Go around the edges next, lifting and adjusting the stencil as needed. Narrow areas such as the wrists will sometimes need these adjustments. When you get to the mark left by your finger tab, just rotate your stencil and spray it away. Clean up any stray edges and darken any areas needed, and then we'll begin shadowing the skull. Shadow across the bridge of the nose, around the eye sockets, across the brow, and around the top and sides of the skull to add depth. Don't forget under the cheekbones and around the nose too. I can even use the edge of my skull stencil to help add further definition between the skull and the rose. Next we'll add some background with one of our freestyle tools. Rotating the tool to go with the flow, mist along the edge to create abstract background effects. Remember to play around and experiment with different ways to create awesome backgrounds. Here we'll do our quick and easy fan-like pattern, spraying along the edge every half inch or so. and down here too. Now we're able to trick it out with some halftone elements and stars from the Graffiti Madness kit. You can do this by randomly adding bits around the edges of your design. Just be careful not to overlap. This next step is optional, but it really adds a lot of impact to the design. We're going to add highlights, but by removing some ink. Take a cosmetic swab, the type with one pointy end and one rounded end, and add some 99% alcohol to the ends. Use the swab to erase ink in the areas where you want to add the highlight. This also makes the tattoo look more realistic. Do this wherever needed, all over the rose petals and the skull. At some point, you may need to get a new swab. Like I said, this step can add a lot of impact to the realistic look of the tattoo. Last but not least, seal your tattoo with baby powder or makeup setting powder. This will do two things. Number one, it will set the tattoo and help protect it. Number two, it further sets in the realistic look of the airbrush tattoo. So this step is highly recommended. And there you have it, a super rad rose and skull hand tattoo using TattooPro Stencils. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot an email or comment in the video below. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome tutorials. And please, share the tattoos that you create with us on Instagram at TattooPro Stencils. Thanks for watching.